Hi, I'm Alex Howard, and I'm joined by Julia Alderman from the Nutrition Team. Hi, Julia. And in this video, we're going to talk about one of the reasons why people can react to supplements. This is actually the first in a series of videos talking about some of the different reasons. I know, Julia, that a lot of people that come to the Nutrition Team have done other nutrition work elsewhere.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Often people have started protocols they've not been able to follow through with because they've been having reactions to supplements.
Yeah, exactly.
And they've often drawn the conclusion that that means that they can't do nutrition work, or it just makes them feel worse. So maybe as a starting point, why do people react to supplements? Why can that be a factor for people?
Yeah. I mean, there can be a huge number of different reasons, and essentially a reaction to a supplement is telling us that there's an imbalance in the body that's causing the problem. So whilst it's obviously a horrible thing for patients to go through, it can, in a strange way, be actually very useful for us too, because it gives us that extra bit of information.
Yeah, I guess it's a sign of something that's going on, and if we can be like a detective to find out why that's happening,
exactly,
it actually tells us something.
Yeah, and that's kind of key to what we do in terms of really getting that level of detail from patients about what supplements have caused problems in the past, what dosages, and looking at the exact patterns to the types of supplements, because often we'll see that it's one particular group of supplements that particularly cause a problem, whereas other ones will be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, there are cases where if patients have got lots of imbalances in different systems, then it might be that a number of different groups of supplements cause a problem. But yeah, we've got a database of different reasons for why supplements might cause a problem. And kind of that's what we'll be looking at in this series of blogs. But some of the common causes will be things like having a detox reaction or liver congestion, if there's lots of metals, problems with methylation cycle, digestive problems. So yeah, a whole different range of things that might be going on.
Yeah, no, I know in this video we're going to talk a bit about one of the reasons why people have reactions to supplements, specifically being gut dysbiosis and kind of digestive problems.
Yeah.
So maybe start off by what that is, kind of gut dysbiosis, and how that can cause reactions to supplements.
Yeah, so when we talk about gut dysbiosis, essentially it's an imbalance in the gut flora, so the bacteria that we've got in the gut. And we've all got a balance between essentially the good bacteria that are very supportive and the bad bacteria, which are the bacterial overgrowths. And it's all about the balance between those two. And obviously we want more of the good guys and less of the bad ones. But essentially in terms of reactions to supplements, what can happen is if you take something that's going to help improve the gut flora, what can happen is you put in the good bacteria, and as a result the bad bacteria get dislodged, and essentially you have a kind of battlefield set up in the gut. And the bad ones go, hang on a second, I want to stay here, and start to release toxins, and the patient will feel quite ill.
Yeah, and I guess when that happens, obviously people's inclination can be that they're getting worse, or it's just not working, or they can't follow through the protocol. So they'll either stop, or the kind of achiever pattern will come in, and people would think, right, I've got to push myself through it. And and traditionally, in my observation, people tend to make themselves sicker and sicker and sicker to the point they just can't do it anymore. Then they stop, but they kind of almost traumatize themselves emotionally, but also it's not helpful to the system, I know, to push through in that way.
Exactly, yeah, and kind of, I mean, the types of reactions that people might get would be, not pleasant things that you'd want to push through with. So kind of lots of bloating, wind, diarrhea, digestive cramps, feeling sick, that type of thing. And it's very key to listen to the system and to work at a pace that's right, and not to push through, which ultimately can leave a patient being very wiped out and a lot further back down the road than they were when they started.
Yeah. So if that's kind of the case, someone's having these reactions, how would we work with that? How would we support somebody through that?
So yeah, the key is working nice and slowly, going at a pace that's right, and really looking at reducing the dosage right back down. So to give you an example of quite an extreme case, we've had a patient in the clinic where we've gone to the extent of asking the patient to use some tweezers to literally pick up 1 grain of a powder of a supplement, and just take 1 grain of that powder a day. And then over the course of 9 months, they've been able to gradually build up and to get onto a full teaspoon. And
yeah. Okay.
And so there, a really nice clear example of where initially going in with the full teaspoon, that patient would have felt absolutely awful.
Yeah.
But by gradually building up and getting the system used to the supplement, then we can build up and get the probiotic in, which is what we want.
And I guess that's one of the skills of the team, is working out roughly, in a certain amount of trial and error, but roughly what that kind of increase should look like and how to structure it.
Exactly,
and that kind of thing.
And kind of getting in the supplements in the right order, at the right time, at the right dosage.
Yeah.
And
which I guess is the benefit of seeing a lot of people with the same kind of things going on.
Yeah.
These kind of patterns become clearer.
Yeah, and in terms of patterns, kind of looking at the other types of supplements that this group of people might react to too, because if there is a lot of bacterial overgrowths going on in the gut, then a lot of other digestive supplements that are going to disrupt that will also cause problems. So kind of your antimicrobial, antifungal type things, kind of garlic, oregano, things like that.
Yeah.
Whereas other supplements such as protein powders, vitamins, things like that would generally be fine.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Great. Well, look, as mentioned at the start, excuse me, there are a number of different reasons why this can be the case. This is one example. And in this series of videos, we're going to explain some of the other reasons why. So in the next video in the series, I think we're going to talk about the maladaptive stress response and how that can play a role, and also adrenal fatigue in terms of reaction to supplements. So watch out for that video, and thank you for watching, and we look forward to talking with you again very soon.